Welcome to my channel. Sorry for any horrific lighting. It's nighttime, but I got my kids occupied, so I was finally able to make this video. Today's video is going to be the 7 pros and 7 cons of being a stay-at-home mom. Now, this is solely based on my own personal experience, and I do not have experience being a working mom. I've stayed home all 5+ years of my children's lives. So if you're a working mom, please do not take this video the wrong way. Just know that I think you are amazing. I, as a stay-at-home mom, get overwhelmed literally all the time. So adding a job into that, I honestly can't imagine. You are superheroes, so please don't feel bad if you're watching this video. But I figured maybe it can help someone who is grappling with the decision of whether or not to become a stay-at-home mom to make that decision, because it is a huge decision, and what works for one family may not work for another family in terms of whether to go to work or to stay home. So like I said, please take whatever I say with a grain of salt, but I hope it helps someone. So let's just jump right into this. I am rambling way too much. So I am going to start with the pros, because I'm trying not to be all complainy right off the bat with this video. So I'm going to start with the pros of being a stay-at-home mom. Number 1 is never missing my children's milestones and sweet moments. Now, this is a huge one for me because I did not realize until Zelda was born and started growing just how fast kids grow and just how fast time goes. And sometimes I think back and I'm like, I am afraid that I'm forgetting exactly what she was like when she was younger, and now same with Delilah. And so I'm glad to be able to slow down and take in any sweet moments with them, and to be able to coach them through their milestones like walking and talking, and being the first one to see those. That just personally, it means a lot to me. Number 2 is no daycare cost. This is another big one for us because it seems that daycare these days for 2 kids is equivalent to some college degrees, which I personally think is asinine. But at the same time, you really can't put a price tag on your children's safety, and it is a ton of work and resources to care for children. I know that. But we felt like if I went to work, what I would bring home after paying for our kids to go to daycare would not be financially worth trading in the rest of the pros on this list. For now at least. 3 is not having to worry and wonder what kind of care my children are receiving. This may not bother some people, but I'm a really paranoid person. And I feel like if my children were in daycare, I would personally be worried all day, every day. I have heard some daycare horror stories. Obviously, those are few and far between. But my husband, like if I ever talk about putting the kids in daycare and going to work, like if I'm having one of those weeks where I'm just completely over it, he starts sending me articles of daycare snafus. So apparently this is a big one for him as well. So number 4 is getting to raise them by my own rules. That kind of goes with the last one as well. When kids are in daycare, obviously they have other adults making their rules, and it's just something I personally do not like. I like being able to raise them how I want to raise them. So 5, when they're sick or have appointments, I don't have to worry about missing work, and neither does my husband. This is another big one. Right now, Zelda is sick for the 2nd time in a month, and she does not even go to school or daycare. So that's another one. Like, how often would she be sick if she was in daycare, if she's this often sick now? So, like right now, I would have to be grappling with the decision of which of us are going to miss work. Are we going to lose our jobs over it? And right now it's at the point where we don't have to worry about that, and that's awesome. Like if I'm freaking out because one of the kids is getting sick, my husband is always like, oh, it'll be fine, they'll be fine. And I am always like, that's easy for you to say because you'll be going to work and I'll be at home dealing with a sick kid, and my anxiety is going to be in overdrive. So, but at least I don't have to worry about going to work or missing work or finding someone to watch my sick kid. So I'm really, really thankful for that. Number 6 is more time together to create memories. I feel like this went along with the first one, but I like how I can take the girls to the park in the middle of the day, or the library, or to waterfalls, on hikes. I personally really love that. I love being able to do that during the week and not wait until the weekend or when I'm off work. Like, my husband can only join us on the weekends, and it makes him kind of sad sometimes, but I am really thankful that he goes to work so that I can do those things during the week. And number 7, which is the last ones in the pros, is time and freedom to homeschool if you so choose, which I do choose for kindergarten. I would continue to homeschool if Zelda wasn't so darn social and wanted to go to school, but I'm just glad that I get that opportunity to stay home and homeschool for kindergarten even. So now we're going to move on to the cons. I'm probably going to start ranting and raving during this segment. So number 1 is no break from kids ever. So my husband works a lot so that I can stay home with the kids, and I am so indebted to him for that. But that also means that I'm solo momming most of the time, honestly. And when he's home, I really don't want to throw them at him most of the time. Like, sometimes I let them take naps with him, and that's when I get my me time. And that's literally my only me time, is the short spurts where they're taking naps with him. We don't have family nearby to watch them. I don't like having friends watch them because my kids are wild, and I really don't want to do that to friends. So yeah, I get like no time alone. I don't even get time alone to sleep because Delilah hasn't even been sleeping. So it's literally 24/7. Number 2, staying home can be lonely, no adult interaction. This is one that sometimes does not bother me. Sometimes I like being alone for long periods of time, and sometimes it really gets to me because I have no one to really lament to about how hard it is being a mom or being a stay-at-home mom. And whenever I do get that adult interaction, it has to be planned, and we have to get our kids all ready and go out somewhere, and half the time my kids are acting up during that, and it's just really stressful. So yeah, if you go to work, you at least know that every day that you're at work, you're going to get automatic adult interaction, probably, unless you're like alone in an office where nobody ever comes in or calls you or emails you, then you're probably going to get some kind of adult interaction. Number 3, the guilt of not financially contributing to the family, and it's all on my husband's shoulders. Now this one bothers me really, really bad, mainly because I have a degree, and with that degree came student loans, and my husband has been working extra so that he can pay off my student loans and even pay extra on my student loans. So not only is he paying all the bills for our home and to keep us afloat, but he's also paying off my debts while I'm at home with our kids. And this is kind of a hard pill to swallow for me. I feel really guilty about this all the time. Number 4, which kind of goes along with number 3, is having to ask my husband for money makes me feel like a child. He is not the one that makes me feel this way. It's another thing that I put on myself. I guess that's anxiety problems. But so he handles all the finances because he has a degree in finance, so that just kind of makes sense. So my husband's the one that knows how our finances are doing at all times. He earns the money, he keeps up with the money. I have no idea. So whenever I want to make any kind of purchase, and I mean any kind of purchase, except for sometimes going to Target, sometimes I take the Target card and I'm naughty with that. But otherwise, I have to ask him for money. I have to ask him to make the purchases because I don't know whether we have the money to do so. And the fact that I have to do this makes me feel like a child because I am literally his dependent. Like, legally, I am his dependent. And being dependent on another adult makes me feel like a child. And there's also, I guess this goes along with this, like, I am really happy in my relationship. But some stay-at-home moms are not. Some stay-at-home moms just are, either they're unhappy or they're even abused, and they do not have the financial resources to get out of that relationships. And that's a really scary thing. It even scares me, even if I'm happy in my relationship, because I am. what if one day I wasn't? You never know what could happen. Like, honestly, you never know what the future holds, and if something like that were to happen, I wouldn't know how to get out of it because I don't have any money that I earn myself. So that's really scary. That's a really scary reality that stay-at-home moms face. Number 5 already. Always being home to make messes, constant cleaning. Now, I have noticed this because we have valet trash at our apartment building, which means we just throw our trash out into the hallway every night and someone comes and gets it. And I've noticed, because I'm the only stay-at-home mom on my floor, that we have way more trash than everyone else all the time. And that's because we're home making messes all the time, which means I'm having to clean up after kids all the time. And I know that working moms have to come home and clean up after their kids, but also there's this large chunk of the day where they go to work and whatever the messes they make are cleaned up by like a custodian. Whatever messes their kids make at daycare is cleaned up by a custodian or a teacher. And I feel like that does take a lot of the cleaning away. And for me, it's just, I feel like I'm cleaning all the time. It feels like Groundhog Day with this cleaning because it never ends. Number 6 is feeling guilty for being overwhelmed. Now, this is another big one for me. I feel like I've mentioned like 1,000 times that I suffer from horrific anxiety, and sometimes I even suffer from bouts of depression, and this means that I get really overwhelmed really easily, especially as a mom. Both of my kids are wild, so that adds to it, and my husband, like I said, works a lot. And sometimes I find myself texting him and complaining all day about how bad the kids are, and he is so understanding of it, and I really appreciate him. Like, when I have a bad day, he always does something when he gets off of work to take the edge off for me. But I feel guilty about that. I feel like because I get to stay home and because I get to go out in the middle of the day and kind of do what I want and enjoy our kids, that I shouldn't feel overwhelmed, that if anyone has the right to feel overwhelmed, that's my husband. Like I said, he has not made me feel that way, but it's another thing that I tell myself, and it produces so much guilt for me because I feel like I shouldn't be overwhelmed ever. And the last one, which is another big one for me because, as I said earlier, I do have a degree, is not using that degree and not working and staying home with my children is very detrimental to my resume. So whenever I do want to use my degree, whenever like my kids get in school, my resume is going to be really sad, and I feel like because of that I'm going to have a huge issue finding a job, and I really worry about that. Sometimes I feel like I wish I wouldn't have gone to college because at the time I didn't know that I was going to enter the stay-at-home mom lifestyle. I actually had both of my kids while in college and just recently graduated, and I know that one day I will be able to use my degree, but for right now I just like, sometimes it makes me angry that I even got it because it's sitting there, we're paying for it, and I'm not using it, and that's another thing I feel guilty about. Being a stay-at-home mom is full of so much guilt, and I honestly feel like being a working mom is probably also full of guilt. If any working moms would like to add your pros and cons in my comments, I would love to hear those. I would love to hear the other side of this fence. If any stay-at-home moms would like to add your pros and cons down below, please do that too, because I know we all live different lives and we all have different pros and cons to being a stay-at-home mom. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps someone with their decision of whether or not to stay home with their children. It's actually a wonderful thing. I love staying home with my children despite the cons, but you know, sometimes it's hard. It's just a reality. Sometimes being any type of mom is hard. So like I said, I hope this helped someone, and if it did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.